I'm Dean, I'm the dad.
I'm Laura, I'm the mom.
And I'm Chrislyn, I'm the daughter.
And together we are Family Plot. Very nice, very nice. First and foremost, since this will drop on Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to all our listeners.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Happy Thanksgiving to the fam.
Yes.
And since we have your attention, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. A couple of ways you can help the show out if you'd like. First, there's always Patreon. We have 2 levels, $1 and $3. It's a monthly thing. You can pause it if you need to. Not a bad idea. If you can't do Patreon, we don't hold that against anyone. You can always donate $1 or $2 through Buy Me a Coffee. If you enjoy the show, please share it on social media.
Share it with friends.
With family.
With everyone. And if you don't enjoy the show, please keep it to yourself. Oh, that was awesome.
All we ask, and it doesn't cost a penny.
Exactly.
So,
what are we talking about today? Well, on Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, November 22nd, which is 11 years to the day from when we're recording today, 2012, 2 teens, Nicholas Brady, 17, and Haile Kifer, 18, broke into the home of 64-year-old Byron David Smith. The man was hiding in his basement where he'd stashed granola bars and bottled water. As the teens came downstairs, he shot them both, killing them. Today, we examine the events of this Thanksgiving tragedy in this special episode of the Family Plot Podcast. But first, Krista has a corner.
It's not just any corner, it's Krista's corner.
Krista's corner. Hi, Chris.
Hi there.
How was your day, dear?
It was pretty okay.
Got to hang out with your sibs.
Got to hang out with my siblings.
Had an extra day off of school.
Got to hang out with my friends.
Nice.
Not like IRL, but...
Well,
virtual is not bad. Nothing wrong with virtual.
Yeah, absolutely.
I changed my profile. Not my profile, but I changed my background on my phone.
Yeah, I was going to say your screensaver, whatever.
Yeah, it's my background. I forgot the word for a second.
You're good.
Excuse me.
You are good.
Now, you also walked down to From the Earth, right?
Yeah, we walked down to From the Earth and then back.
That's a good walk.
Now I have two blisters.
Oh, honey.
On the back of both of my feet.
That's not a good thing.
No, that's not a good thing.
That's never fun.
That's a bad thing, in fact.
Right.
That's not a... I went over to my friend's house last weekend.
Yes, you did, and that was awesome.
That was fun. That was really fun.
And you got to help, do Christmas decorations?
Mm-hmm. We were doing Christmas decorations on the tree. Her mom really liked me.
Well, I mean, what's not to like, really?
Yeah, you're pretty amazing, baby.
Definitely. We're pretty lucky. All of our kids are pretty amazing, though, Dad.
Yes, we are. I noticed that you have a touch of this cough our little germ donkeys brought home.
Yeah, I coughed in our intro. Listeners, I am so sorry. I've been talking all day long. I'm working on site training, and so I apologize for coughing. And
I wasn't worried about that. I was just saying.
I'm struggling with my voice a little bit. All of the back and forth. I was working nights last week and evenings the week before, so my body doesn't really jive really well with my schedule jumping around. So I'll push past. But yeah, I'm a little I've got a little touch of the creeping crud right now. I'm not going to lie.
Our germ donkeys always bringing home the best.
I'm not bringing home anything.
And don't throw our germ donkeys under the bus. It could just as easily have been anyone at work and they're germ donkeys.
That's true. That's true. I work at Walmart. Well, I don't work for Walmart, but I work at a Walmart.
That's what you said.
And I'm sure I get a lot of germ donkeys passing by me there.
Absolutely. Sometimes people don't even know they're germ donkeys. It's just a thing. That's why you're a donkey. You're just carrying it through. You don't even know.
So, what else happened, Krista?
I made Lexi pick up the living room earlier.
Yay!
Yay!
I was a little mean, but she needed it.
Sometimes that's how you got to be with them little sisters.
Exactly.
And then Chris and Blue and Demix helped make our sweet potato souffle and mashed potatoes for tomorrow. So
yummy! I'm surprised nobody made the corn casserole or the hash brown casserole. Wow, we're having a lot of potatoes this Thanksgiving. Don't care, it's a holiday.
Potatoes!
okay.
Many potatoes.
Don't know how to make it and don't know how to make it.
Okay.
So I didn't make it.
That's all right. It's all good.
I can help you with cooking tomorrow.
It'll be fine. It's good. But neither one takes a long time. It's just throwing them together. All good. Okay, so do you have anything else that you wanted to tell us about other than your poor sore tootsies, baby girl?
The back of my heel, it hurts really bad.
Okay, I'm sorry. The back of your footsies. Wow, we are like way off of topic.
Whoa, okay,
Yeah,
we can
good.
move on now. You can move on. That was all. That was all.
That was it. You don't have anything else?
No, I don't.
All right,
I don't really
all
have
right.
any.
All right. So, our story starts out in Little Falls, Minnesota. Little Falls is a town of 9,000 or so a fairly small town. And it's also the county seat of Morrison County. It's located near the exact geographic center of the state. Like Pocatello, Idaho, from our episode about Cassie Jo Stoddard, it is a town with a city center that gets less populated the more you go out from that center. It is mostly a suburban population center and has a lot of museums. So in many ways, it is the definition of a sleepy little town.
Byron David Smith, I hope I said that right, was former employee of the State Department. Now, I am not entirely sure what he did for the State Department, as it advises the president when it comes to matters of foreign affairs, acts as boots on the ground in foreign situations that are dangerous, like the recent conflagration?
Conflagration. Good.
Okay. I'm not saying that. I'm sorry. I don't want to try.
You're good. That was a great try. I mean, all we can do when we don't know a word is do our best.
Between Israel and
Hamas. But
Hamas? Okay, my bad.
No.
And represents the U.S. at the United Nations. His brother described him as a retired security engineering officer. He never married and lived alone. I know he was a hunter, but beyond that, I do not know about his background.
okay, so we've met one of the members of we've met one of the members of the people we're going to talk about. We've met the town. Let's take a short word from our sponsors, and then we'll talk about the two victims. Yes, Chris.
I feel sponsored.
Yay! Sponsored? Well, that's
Yay!
because I feel sponsored too.
Yay!
I know, right?
So, hon, you want to tell us about Nicholas and Haile?
Sure, I guess I can. All right. So, Nicholas Brady and Haile Kifer were two cousins who hung out a lot, and their parents thought they were, typical teenagers. Haile was seen on Smith's surveillance casing the house that sad Thanksgiving Day. Nicholas Brady's car contained evidence that he had burgled a retired teacher's home the night before. So it sounds like these two cousins, while they probably were pretty much typical teenagers, weren't necessarily the cleanest cut teenagers. They were kind of victims of growing up in that small town America and doing whatever to have fun or get a little bit ahead or have a little bit of extra. Sounds like where they most likely
went off the path. Yeah.
Yep. So the car was also seen at a home invasion robbery, and a relative also accused him of stealing drugs from her home a couple of months prior. So it definitely sounds like these were not the cleanest cut kids.
No, they probably weren't.
So we are absolutely not saying that these victims were innocent victims. That is not why we're talking about this story.
Right.
However, that being said, as a parent, and Dean as a parent, we both know that our children are not perfect. Most children are not perfect. The fact of the matter is they're kids. There's a reason that we have a certain age that kids get to before they're considered adults. And these were two kids that kind of fell under that umbrella. So other than the couple of things that we have outlined here, they did appear to be normal teens. And I'm absolutely sure that they had families who loved them and missed them terribly.
Right. And that's something else, is that they've proven, and they knew this before this happened, but they have since pretty much proven that teen brains don't really finish baking till sometime in the early 20s.
Right.
So their decision-making process can be and often is flawed.
Sure.
So it's hard to say what would have happened to them.
Right.
But let's do basically a timeline. We know who, we know where. Let's talk about what happened. Leading up to Thanksgiving, Smith claimed to have been robbed multiple times, although he only reported one burglary to the police. Someone had broken into his home and stolen $4,000 in cash, part of a coin collection, a chainsaw, and his father's POW watch. Now, later police investigations would uncover evidence of two burglaries. One in his home where the cash and other items were taken, and a second in a detached garage that Smith seemed to have no knowledge of when the police brought it up. Smith claimed his home had been robbed multiple times, as I said, and one of the things he claimed was taken was several of his guns. So in the weeks leading up to the murders, Byron began to stash granola bars and bottled water in his basement, and along with a rifle and possibly other guns as well. There are conflicting reports on that, as well as he was carrying a loaded, holstered pistol while in his home. He was so fearful after these robberies, he didn't feel safe at home. He was wandering around with a loaded pistol in his house. I don't know, just in case you go to get a bite of turkey and it tries to bite you back.
Sure, absolutely. Why not? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's a weird flex to me, but...
I don't disagree, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems... That's one of the things, like, okay, I've been robbed. I've had my house robbed. I didn't wander around my house because I don't have guns, but I didn't wander around with a steak knife, just like, they come back, I'm ready.
Yeah, exactly. It seems a little off. You're not wrong.
So, now, on that Thanksgiving Day, he had parked his car in front of a neighbor's house up the street from his home, which again is kind of a weird flex.
It is.
But according to Smith, he had been visiting said neighbor when he saw Kifer drive by on his security feed, and he suspected her of being the burglar that had burglarized him. He excused himself and said he had to get ready. He went home, he removed several light bulbs, and turned on an audio recording device in his basement. Minutes later, he heard an upstairs window break, and you can hear that on the audio. The audio is available online to listen to. I probably should have copied some of it to play, but it's heartbreaking, and that's just
very, very frustrating and sad to listen to. You are absolutely right.
And I just didn't. That's not our thing, you know. So minutes later, he hears this upstairs window break, and someone enter the home. Lying in wait downstairs, he hears Brady upstairs for a while, and then when Brady comes downstairs, he shoots him, hitting what would be a fatal shot. He taunts Brady's lifeless body as he wraps it in tarp and pulls it into a nearby closet. He then goes upstairs for a while before returning suddenly to the downstairs area.
Right.
He makes some comments that are overheard on the device, including saying something about in your left eye.
Right.
At that moment, Kifer enters through the broken window, calling for Nicholas. She begins to descend the stairs where he shoots her. He approaches her as she cries out, "Oh my God," before he says, "Oh, sorry about that," clearly being sarcastic, before shooting her twice more.
Wow.
When he's done, calls her a name or two, not one I'm going to repeat, before dragging her body into the closet as well,
Right.
where he shoots her under the chin with what he describes as a good, clean finishing shot.
Which I think is just sick.
Yeah. He also, when he was interviewed later, said something about he saw her give out the death twitch, which was the first time he'd ever seen it in a human. That's creepy too.
So creepy.
Yeah, that's just, I don't care how often you hunt. That's just a creepy thing to say.
No.
Yep.
So it should be noted that one of the shots entered right by her left eye. He then stays downstairs, talking about feeling safer than he has for a while. He also talks about calling a legal firm. In fact, he sort of role plays how he's going to go about it. 24 hours later, he calls and reports the incident to the Little Falls Police Department. Now, police are immediately suspicious, if only because he took 24 hours to report the incident. Police investigated his home, seizing both the audio recorder as well as his video surveillance. During the interview, Smith admits to administering killing shots to both Brady and Kifer. He also admits to firing more shots than he needed to. He also claimed that when he initially shot Kifer, she laughed when he approached her. This laugh is not recorded on the audio, but her saying, "Oh my God," clearly is.
Absolutely.
Police continue to investigate, listening to the audio. It soon becomes clear to them that the castle doctrine, which is a legal theory that in defense of one's home allows the use of lethal force against an intruder, does not apply here. The police feel the murders were premeditated because Smith was lying in wait for the burglars, as well as firing lethal shots after the threat was neutralized.
Absolutely. And that's why we felt so strongly to talk about this. Not that we are trying to say who was it right, who was wrong. Obviously, the whole situation is terribly sad and people were hurt. This man was hurt as well, not just the people that he did kill. However, there's a line. There is a line that separates us from men and monsters. And while what they were doing was absolutely wrong, the way he responded to it was no better. In fact, it was maybe worse.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, because they lost their lives and they didn't have the chance to turn that around for themselves.
Right.
So anyway, I digress. The court case continued, and the court case was coming. Smith was eventually arrested for the killings of the 2 teenagers. Initially, the prosecutor went after second-degree murder charges, but in April of 2013, the grand jury brought back charges of first-degree murder. The trial went forward, and while Smith stuck to his story that he was living in fear, and as such his actions were understandable, the prosecution pointed out his predatory behaviors, lying in wait for the teens, and shooting to kill once they were wounded. The case went to the jury, who deliberated for only 3 hours before returning with a sentence of guilty on both charges of first and second-degree murder. Smith was sentenced to life in prison. He filed an appeal but lost, and for now continues to sit in jail,
where he will most likely die unless there's new evidence brought forth or something. Because, now, this case started a huge controversy, a huge debate in the community of Little Falls, which spread to the state of Minnesota, and eventually the nation. Many felt Smith was justified, that the fear he lived in, many point to him wearing a holstered loaded pistol in his home, meant that only the shooting the teens, but summarily executing them was perfectly all right. The prosecutors, as well as many others, felt that if he hadn't fired additional shots after neutralizing the threat, he would be in the clear. This is still a hotly debated topic to this day, and there is a Facebook page called David Byron Smith of Little Falls, Minnesota is a hero, which continues to defend him and push for his release.
Yeah, they probably will not like us very much when we put this show out.
I'm going to tag him in it.
I know you are. I know you are. It'll be the first time our Facebook group gets dinged for harassment, I'm afraid.
Oh, no, I'm not doing it from the group. I'm just going to send him a message on Messenger.
Oh, my goodness.
And that brings us to our summary and our final thoughts. And I'm going to put mine out there first. Just because here's the thing for me. I get him. I understand. Even if he seems a little off to me, like the whole 64 and never married.
Well, I don't have any issue with that, but yeah, go ahead.
I don't get that. I don't get the idea of not wanting to share your life with someone or not wanting to put progeny out in the world to carry on your name, even though, he's got 3 brothers. They're going to do that or whatever. But it just, I don't know. It's such a weird flex to not have that person in your life. And at 64, I don't think he was, dating around. I just don't, that doesn't seem to be a thing. Also, though, here's the thing. If they had come down the stairs, he had shot them once, and then immediately called the police, I'd be on his side because he defended his home.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't use excessive force.
If he had stopped there.
Yeah, if he had stopped there. Right. So if that's where he had stopped and called the police right then, but it's that weird 24-hour wait.
Yes.
And also the idea that once they were dead,
sure that they were dead and nothing was going to bring them back. That's my whole thing. Yes.
That whole summary execution I don't believe. Yeah, I believe that. And while the stand your ground law that is in some states kind of allows for that, stand your ground and the castle doctrine are different, because the castle doctrine basically says you got a gun, someone breaks in, you can shoot them.
Right.
What you can't do is lie in wait, shoot them repeatedly after the threat is neutralized. Like if you shoot a guy in the knee and he falls over, threat's done.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
So if that's what you do, then fine. But stand your ground. Basically, if you can convince the court that you are in fear of your life, you can shoot that person as much as you need to.
Right.
And that's what happened with Trayvon Martin and quite a few other cases I just hate that stand your ground, because it pretty much gives people a license to kill. And I know it's a license to kill against people who are stealing or whatever. But man.
But where do you draw that line? And that's the whole thing. It's like, yes, it makes sense and there's a reason behind it. There's an understandable reason behind it. Trust me, I know that juvenile delinquents and cruel teenagers can be absolutely monstrous too. I am a survivor of being a teen in the 90s. I was shoved down staircases. I was shoved into lockers. I was jabbed with sharpened pencils. My hair was pulled and cut. I was sexually harassed. I was emotionally harassed. I was tortured to get through high school. Teens can be cruel without trying to be cruel. Even in your own home, if you have taken the step and gotten someone to the point where they cannot come after you, you are no longer in control of that situation at that point. It is your legal obligation to pick up the phone and call the legal authorities.
Right.
You are not Dirty Harry. You don't get to have that ability even in your own home.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, unless these two teens were both on PCP, which they weren't. They did find drugs in Nicholas's system, but
it was like...
Yeah, it was like weed or something. It wasn't
anything that would have made him like crazy aggressive.
Yeah, it wasn't like, he was charging like a rhino and the guy had to empty shot after shot into it.
Right.
It wasn't that kind of drugs. He had some weed in his system. If someone breaks in on PCP or bath salts or a combination of both, Lord knows what they take in Florida these days, then I get it. Yeah, fire until that guy quits moving. And if he's dead in the end, okay. But other than that, if it's someone who comes downstairs, you shoot them, they fall over. Guess what? Call the cops. Right. At that point, call the cops. Dead, not dead, call. Hey, someone just broke in. I shot them. I'm in my basement. I'm still scared. Please help.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it took if he had done that, it took 10 minutes for her to come in looking for her brother.
She wouldn't, or her cousin. She wouldn't have ever even come in. You're right. Absolutely.
And he
may have lived. I mean, yes, it could have been a fatal shot, that first shot, but not necessarily because he shot him more.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just... And that's where my line is.
Right.
My line is, once he's down, you call the cops. Hey. And they could have arrested her, and that might have been the thing that flipped her around.
He had all of the proof that he needed to put them behind bars and get them straightened out. But instead, he chose to take the law into his own hand. And it circles back to me to something that Marvel put in God Loves Man Kills, which was a graphic novel back in the early 80s.
About the X-Men. I love that one.
About the X-Men going up against a religious type cult that were against mutants. And Scott Summers said, how we do this thing is what matters. And I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the exact quote in front of me. But how we do this thing matters, because if we don't follow the rules and pay attention to how we reach those goals, how are we any better than the people who are coming after us to begin with? And that is absolutely the case here. Sir, you took it too far. You went from standing your ground, protecting yourself and your house, to being judge, jury, and executioner. And you cannot do this in your home or any other place. That doesn't make us any better than wolves in the forest.
No, I agree. And like at his trial, when he was up on the stand, because of course he got up on the stand, he said it was a mess and he had to clean it up. And the police wouldn't help and the victims' families wouldn't help. So he had to clean this mess up. And it was just the worst mess you could imagine. And he felt like he was doing his civic duty.
That's that. Like,
And
who are you to make that call, though?
Exactly. Your civic duty is not to murder two teenagers who happen to be burglarizing your home. Now, if you had shot them each once and they were both fatal shots, okay.
Right.
Okay.
But that's not what he did. And he didn't even load the gun into them one after another. There's audio proof that proves that he waited extended amount of times. He intentionally took the shots that he took.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when he said something about in your left eye and then shot her almost in her left eye.
Right.
And that's, it's so sad to me because the teens didn't need to lose their lives. Yes, they needed to be caught. Yes, they needed to be punished. Yes, this could have been a learning situation for them where they could have absolutely been
Rehabilitated.
Yeah, they could have been rehabilitated or they could have just seen the error of their ways.
Absolutely.
And I'm not even convinced.
How many good people do we have who is the judge? Judge Mathis, was it? Who was in trouble on the streets, and one time he got in trouble, it turned him around, and he became a judge and helped young people and things. We don't know how our positive responses to bad situations can positively influence the world. But there's no question that what he did was not a positive response.
No, absolutely not. And anyone who says, well, anybody who breaks in your home deserves what they get, ish.
That's still a person, regardless of whether they're being cruel or not.
We try not to get into religion on this show, but it reminds me of the who is without sin cast the first stone.
Yeah, and that guy worked.
And that man obviously was not a saint. He worked for the government. I know too many government employees. There ain't no way.
Yeah, and he worked for the State Department of all places. That's and that's also a weird flex because it's State Department is a lot of time a cover job for working like CIA or NSA or something like that. And so, and I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, for me, it comes down to, I just don't think, like, if he even, the minute you're sitting there calling someone a witch with a B, which is one of the names he used.
He used against her, yes.
While you're firing additional shots, and then you sit for 24 hours with the bodies in your closet, you're not a good guy at that point. Yeah. You're not a good guy with a gun. You're not defending yourself. Nope. You summarily executed two people that you didn't have to.
And then sat around and gloated about it with them sitting in your closet for 24 hours. And, oh, it's just being considerate of your time on the holidays, which we didn't talk about. But he actually did say.
Yeah, that's what he told the police.
Yep.
When they came and he was like, oh, well, I did, it's the holidays. I wanted to be. Cops work on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Fire departments work on Thanksgiving. They work on Christmas. There is not a day that police don't work. You know why? Because we might need them.
Yes, absolutely. Just to kind of circle around about this, we didn't say it kind of at the top, but I think it bears saying, if you're curious about this, if you want to know more information, this is definitely a topic that has had a couple of different shows on investigation discovery, a show that a channel that we definitely support.
Yep, I have that on quite often.
I've seen it on probably, it might have been on some of CNN shows. So, I mean, lots of different lots of different true crime media has talked about this topic. It really has been a controversial and life-changing topic to the communities that surrounded where it took place and also the families that were involved.
And there's another thing that I kind of am curious about, or I want to make a point of, which is, I don't know that Haile Kifer was involved in any of the burglaries.
Yeah, we don't have any. Right.
There was never any proof found. She'd never had any of this stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not like Nicholas, where we knew he had some things.
Right.
I think she just hung out with her cousin, and I'm sure she knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she definitely was not in the right. But I'm willing to bet she went in that house because she was worried about him.
And that makes total sense to me.
And if that's the case, then she died for the high crime of going and checking on her cousin.
Yep.
And
so I guess from that point of view, and see, when we started out, I did say that we weren't saying they're innocent. So, I mean, if in that scenario, she really would have been. I mean, outside of just going into someone's house that she knew they weren't supposed to be in, but doing that because you're concerned about somebody that you care about is something that a lot of us would be guilty of.
Right. But see, and that's what I would have done, is if I were her, mm-hmm. I would have called the police.
Right. And which is what she should have done.
Which is what she should have done. But that's also what we talked about with teens don't
think.
Right. They don't think like they will.
Offense, Chris.
When
No. Don't even no offense me. No, you're right. Teens don't think.
I know I am.
They certainly don't think like they will when they're older.
Sure.
They don't. Part of it is they don't have the experience. Part of it is they're not wired for it yet.
And you don't have that life experience. Things, even, I was a sick kid. I was close to death many, many times. But there are things that I understand so much more profoundly as a 46-year-old woman, that even though I was a very life-lived 26-year-old, I didn't have a clue.
Right. And so, I mean, there's just so much wrong with this for me. Nobody's in the right here. Nobody. Yeah. Even if she is completely innocent,
right.
Haile still, she didn't break and enter, but she certainly entered.
Right.
And that's trespassing.
If nothing else.
Yeah. But still, to die for trespassing, especially the way she did. She died in terror.
Yeah.
And to have the guy killing you talk smack to you while he's doing it, that's right out of a horror movie. No. I'm sorry, Byron Smith, not a good dude. And like I said, I could have been on his side. But just like the guy, George Zimmerman, I think his name is, that killed her, I'm not on that dude's side either. If you were that scared, you could have shot him, and when he stopped moving, you could have called the cops.
Yep.
Yeah, it just, I was scared.
Okay, be scared,
no,
but like, do the right thing.
You've got a gun. Why are you scared?
What are you scared of, exactly?
I mean,
I don't think somebody who's shot once is going to come after. They are going to be worried about the blood spilling out of their bodies.
Yep.
Not you.
Not enjoyable to get shot, for sure.
If you have multiple bullets, I don't think they care. This is not a Scream movie, I promise.
Yeah, I was going to say, this isn't Die Hard.
Exactly.
Yeah, this isn't Bruce Willis going, I've been shot in the shoulder. Oh, well, I'll just tough it off, right? This ain't that. This is two teenagers who, if you shoot them, are at the very least, depending on where, are going to jump. If you shoot them in the butt, they're going to jump up and down holding their butt.
Mm-hmm. Because they're teenagers. That's what teenagers do.
Well, that's what anybody would do shot in the butt, I think. Ow, 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 that hurts. It's kind of burny.
My biscuits are burning, like Yosemite Sam said.
Yeah, so I don't. Like I said, if what he had done
we
is
needed to lighten that up a little bit. It was getting pretty dark.
Yeah, if what he had done, and this will be the last time I say this, I know I've repeated it about 8 times, but if what he had done is shot Brady and then shot Kifer and then called the police, especially, like, you've got Brady, call the cops.
Mm-hmm.
And if he had done that, Kifer wouldn't have been shot.
Mm-hmm.
Brady might have survived.
Mm-hmm.
It would have spent a lot of time in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
It might have turned them both around because Haile would have almost certainly been arrested. Now, she may not have went to trial because if they had arrested her then, at that point, she just drove a guy to a place where he burgled. And if she knew about it in advance,
it was
then
his car.
Yeah.
So she drove with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it was his car, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you're right. It was his car. I don't know why I thought she was driving. She was the face that he saw on his footage. That's why, is because he didn't see Brady. He saw Kifer and he thought she was the burglar, which, like I said, there's no evidence of that. The only evidence we have is she went in looking for her cousin, which she, again, wasn't a great choice, but what are you going to do? So, like I said, I could have been on his side if he had shot him, called the cops, or even shot him and her, then called the cops.
Yep.
And shot them once, but he didn't. He taunted them. He set a death trap is what he did. He was taking out lights. And that is definitely premeditated. It's not like they broke in and he was sitting down having dinner, grabbed his gun and went bang, bang.
Yeah.
It's just, there's too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
And I think he is where he belongs.
Yep. I just to add to what you just said, yeah, I mean, even if he felt like he needed to make a showing, he could have very easily, when he heard someone in his upstairs, fired the gun. And that most likely would have scared them off. They had tried to come down the stairs. You're definitely at the bottom of the stairs, and you can take them out before they can get anywhere near you. So just the fact that the way that he did everything is where it stopped for me. There's no reason for what he did. He was judge and jury and executioner to those 2 kids who maybe could have turned around. And even if they didn't need to turn their lives around because maybe they were just kids that were just being stupid kids and didn't see how wrong it was. Even if that was the case, he doesn't get to make those decisions.
Yeah. I'm totally with you. So
did you have anything to add, baby, or you?
Yeah.
I just dropped my chicken.
I'm sorry you dropped your chicken.
Oh, so
that's what you get for trying to eat chicken while we're trying to record. How about do you have it?
You told me I could eat.
I did.
We're teasing, baby.
I'm just playing.
Oh.
You still got chicken. You just dropped the skin. That's the part that's not any good for you.
But I like the skin. The chicken.
Anyway.
You know, considering the topic, this is kind of creepy conversation.
Okay.
It is a creepy conversation. You're not wrong. Oh my goodness.
Okay. Well, I've got to add, I'm sure it was scary, especially after all that stuff had happened. But there's always a better way to do things, and I certainly think that if even you were literally waiting for them to come, you have plenty of time to think about it.
Yeah, that's where
you had plenty of time to think about it. Mm-hmm. There was no reason for you to shoot them that much and torture them like that.
Yep.
Like, you were not going through torture or anything. Sure, you're getting stuff stolen from you, but like, they don't deserve torture for that.
Yeah, but even with the stuff that was stolen from him, he claimed he'd been burglarized like half a dozen times. Mm-hmm. He reported 1 burglary. Mm-hmm. What?
Yeah, it's almost like, especially at the age of 64, and I know it is young, but especially someone who has worked in the State Department and dealt with really high-stress job, you can start having delusions even. You can start having, my mother was 60 years old when she passed, and she had some medical issues that made her see things that weren't there. She freaked out on crystalline in a car ride. She was 60 years old. It's definitely a possibility at that age for somebody who has had a high-stress life to start seeing things that aren't there, hearing things that weren't there. So while it was a bad situation, it's also possible that he could have added a lot of things into that didn't have anything to do with these people, and he just needed help.
And that's possible, but the other possibility is he was just lying. Well, my place got burgled again.
Yeah,
because we all know people that no matter how bad it is, they can think of ways to make it worse, and boy, they're gonna.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's this guy, but whew.
Well, but I know I've specifically listened to some of these audio tapes multiple times. This was my idea to talk about this because I did feel so strongly to it coming from a parent's point of view. And that's the whole thing. Even as a parent, I love my son with all of my soul. But if he goes out and breaks into somebody's house and they shoot his ass to protect themselves, even if he dies, I'm going to be heartbroken. But you did what you had to do to protect your home. As a parent, I can 100% say that. I am heartbroken because my son died doing something stupid. But I am also heartbroken that his stupidity caused that. I'm heartbroken that I didn't see the signs. So many things I'm heartbroken about. But that doesn't make what the homeowner did wrong. My son was at the wrong.
Right.
But if that same homeowner does what this guy did and shoots him and then shoots him again and taunts him whether he's alive or dead, the crime that my son committed, even without being convicted of that crime, what he was caught doing, absolutely did not warrant that kind of an attack, even if someone was protecting themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And no. But I did want to get out the idea that those are the two things that struck me that I didn't write down because I knew we'd have this kind of debate. Is one, there's no evidence that Kifer stole anything ever.
Right.
You know, in fact, in the pictures, like she wears sweaters that say swim team on it. I think that she just loved her cousin. Yeah. You know, and we all have that person that we were like, okay, if I'm going to do something stupid, I'm going to do it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. My now, one of my best friends, she would have been 46 yesterday if she were still with us, but she was that person for me. We drove up Buckner Road here in Independence, Missouri at 98 miles an hour when we were teenagers. She jumped those hills from Buckner to Independence back and forth hundreds of times. We could have killed somebody. We could have killed a kid. How dare we be so stupid, you know?
But it's that...
How dare we? But it's that we were stupid kids. We didn't think about that. But if we did that and the mom came into the yard and saw that it had happened and blown us away or cut us into little pieces and made us watch, you know, that's the kind of sick, twisted way he punished them.
Yeah. But like I said, we've all got that person that we do stupid things with. And maybe Nicholas was Haile's.
Sure.
maybe that's where that comes
I
from.
jumped way off.
No. Because you know what? I'm always happy when you get that out because I know how much you miss Janelle.
I do.
And I wish I could find a way to help through that.
I know, you're good.
I love you so much. But yeah.
I'm not the only one who feels that. We all have that person too, right?
Yeah. John Lovitch for me. John Lovitch was the guy that could have got me to do anything. Because there was a time...
Oh, I thought you were saying John Lovitch was the friend that you lost. And I'm like, no. I know you give him heck, but him and Judy have an amazing family going on. Don't drop him like that. Go Gingerbread Lane.
I'm not saying that like that. I'm just saying he was the guy that could have got me to do just about anything. Just because there was a time when I craved his approval and he knew it and he never gave it to me on purpose.
He is that kind of dude too. I see it.
Yeah.
I see it. Yep.
So
love you, John.
Yeah.
Not that he ever listens to this show, but
he gets a copy every week, and it's.
Well, Does he listen to it though?
I don't know if he listens to every episode, but he has come back with questions or comments about several episodes.
Well, all right then.
But it may be the thing where he just has to do a ton of driving, living in New York, and right now, this time of year, holidays, he just has time to listen to podcasts while he's on planes or in cars or whatever.
Okay, but I doubt anyone, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I doubt anyone is listening to all of our episodes.
I don't know.
There are people who have listened to all of our episodes.
You're kidding me.
No. No, not at all.
I would get distracted. I would fall out.
Okay, Chris, I listened to Astonishing Legends.
Says Krista, who watched all of the umpteen episodes of Miraculous Ladybug and all of the spinoffs?
Whoa! Okay.
Same thing!
Okay, listen to me! Not spinoffs, movies.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Okay.
Second of all, there's pictures in that. There is hardly any pictures in podcasts. Unless they're in video form. Ours is not.
Well, it could be.
Yeah, could be. But
check me out. I came up with a topic that had all of us chewing on each other, had me get fired up, had Krista get fired up. You're welcome.
Honey, I have never, ever once minimized your contributions to this podcast.
Of course not. I'm not saying that.
No, just like I wouldn't minimize Krista's. Yes, this was your idea. Yes, I do tend to come up with most of the ideas for the podcast, but the ones you've come up with tend to be our better episodes. I'll admit that because I'm just, ooh, this will be cool to talk about. Ooh, this will be cool to talk about. You choose things based in the heart. And so
I am a big old softy and stuff.
You are, but I wouldn't have you any other way.
Well, thank you. I'm thankful for you too, sir.
And we're both thankful for you and your sibs.
And I'm thankful for everyone.
Yay.
Chris is thankful for all the people.
So I don't think we can talk this to death anymore.
Well, I mean, we could, but we'd lose all of our listeners, and that would not be fun.
So let's say thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening.
I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving.
Please have a super happy Thanksgiving. And even if it is a day alone, be thankful that you took your first breath this morning. If you can't be thankful for anything else, be thankful for that, because so many people sadly took their own lives away or took someone else's life away this year. And so many people who we would love to have here with us are not here with us anymore. So
now you put Chris in a mood. See what you did there?
I'm sorry. I love you, Chris.
I love you.
And you matter.
And you matter.
988, right?
988.
Don't know. It's not on me right now, but I hope. I think it's 988.
988.
Or it may be, is it 811? Could be 811.
No.
No, it's definitely 988.
988.
Okay. Thanks for listening, as I said. Also, happy Friendsgiving, because there are people who do that.
Friendsgiving.
Which is weird to me, because to me, Friendsgiving is just Thanksgiving. I've had friends at Thanksgivings almost my entire life.
Absolutely.
We hope you go into the holidays with love and joy in your heart.
What was that?
Were you watching Hallmark Movie Channel again, honey?
I never watch Hallmark Movie Channel. That place is
That's a whole nother
That is a
episode.
whole nother
Mom.
episode.
that's so creepy.
Hallmark movies is creepy in its own way, and it could totally have its own true crime thing.
A whole series. A whole series, even.
Exactly.
Thanks to Bill Berendt. That last name is spelled Behrendt. Bill is the one who does our theme music, which you can turn into a ringtone. I found that out because I use it as a ringtone. Ha ha. If you need music for a project, or if you need to hire a musician for an event, Bill is definitely the guy you need. You can reach him at Bill Berendt at sbcglobal.net. Also, thanks to Paige Elmore of the Reverie Crime Podcast. Paige also has a Canva addiction, which she has used to combine with some of our own Krista's artwork to do some logo art for us. So thank you very much, Paige.
Thank you, Paige!
Thanks to Aaron Gnurk of the Big Dumb Fun Show, who continues to promote us locally. Thank you, Aaron. You're a good man. Please join us next week as we discuss the Honey Island Swamp Monster.
Or maybe something else.
Bye!
Bye.